Focus stacking isn't just about the sharpness, it's about using the right tool for the textures. Today, we're going to be looking at two very different subjects: a delicate short flower stack and a much deeper pine cone. I'll show you how to set up Helicon Focus and choose the correct methods to make sure you're getting the best images each and every time. Before we start our specific tasks, we need to talk about the three methods that are contained within Helicon Focus, methods A, B, and C. Now, most people just guess, but each one has a specific mathematical job. Understanding these will save you from hundreds of failed renders. First up is method A. This technically computes a weighted average based on every pixel in its contrast. The practical benefit of this, it can be your go-to method for short stacks. And because it averages the image, it is the absolute best at preserving overall color and natural contrast. The limitation is it can really struggle with some deep stacks where it can end up with muddy looking images because it's trying to work with too much data. Then we have method B, which creates a depth map. It looks entirely across your images to find the sharpest pixels and then maps them together. The practical benefit of this, it's unmatched for its smoothness on continuous surfaces. If you're shooting a waxy leaf or a nice smooth petal, then method B is the one to go for. Now, method B can also be one of the most demanding. All of your images must be in a consecutive order, either from front to back or back to front. If your images are not in the correct order, then method B will fail completely. And finally, there's method C, which uses a pyramid signal approach. It breaks down the image into high and low frequencies to determine the sharpness. When you've got lots of features overlapping, method C can really be one of the best to help you out. And it can be one of the best at figuring out where one edge ends and where the other edge begins. But for deep and difficult stacks, it pretty much usually is the winner. Now, none of these are hard and fast rules. You've got to really try and have a go at all three methods because every photograph that you take is going to be completely different. Try them all, see which works best for you. So one of the first things that we do once we've got the interface over the Helicon Focus is we can add our photos. So our first photo stack is a short stack of a flower. Now, I've already run all my photos through DxO Pure Raw 6 just to give them that extra little bit of edge before we start processing them as well. So if we click and drag them all and drop them into Helicon. Now on the interface we have our main photo here, and on the right hand side our source images. We've got a list of all our images here. Now, one of the key things that is often forgotten about when people talk about Helicon Focus is this source images section here. So one of the first things we want to do when we're here with our photos is with right click, make sure we got sort automatically selected. This helps Helicon make sure that it's analyzing the photos and getting the depth of the stack understood. If our focus steps weren't perfectly linear, that little click can help make the complete difference in the stack. Okay, so now that we've got our sort automatically option done, we're going to use method A. Now, I did mention earlier using all methods. This is a simple stack. It was all shot at f3 each one, and like I said, I was a bit of a distance away from the shot, so I only needed to take about 10 to get this flower here. I'm not bothered with the rest of that flower there. It's just this flower here is the photo. So let's try method A. We're going to keep the settings as they are. One little tip here, right click on your option buttons there to make sure that they reset to normal. So if you move them, you can right click to drop them back to where they need to be. So we'll press render there and let it draw with method A. Okay, so that was nice and quick. Now we can go in and we can zoom in and have a look at the details that we've got here. And that's really quite nice. Press spacebar just like in Photoshop to move the photo around. We can see that we got a little bit of haloing or banding. I'm not really sure what the technical term, but it's not very good there. That's what we're talking about, a small amount. The rest of the flower seems very, very good. Not much haloing or anything going on. That's absolutely good. And we could try and drop the radius slider a little bit. So we're going to drop it down from 8 to about 3. All of this is about experimenting and seeing which works for your photo. So we'll redo that with pressing render. Now let's zoom into that and have a look there. Now that looks much better down there, and I think the flowers themselves look a little bit better. So let's straighten that up there. We'll keep an eye on the right hand side here. So I want to check the previous option. Yeah, so if we look here, there's definitely some banding or fading going on. If we move back to our lower radius option, it's much better on there. I think some of these are looking a lot better as well up here. Yeah, these stamen or whatever they are, the little yellow bits, we'll call them. I'm not a biologist. A little bit dull in the first option, but if we go to radius 3, smooth and 4, we can see that they are much better. So let's try lowering it again. Let's go all the way down to 1 and press render. Now I think it's plain to see that we've definitely got some issues going on here. We don't need to zoom in too much to see that. So the radius clearly needs to be brought back up to about 3. We'll try 4. Why not? So these are the numbers that I mentioned earlier. So this is the history of all the options that we've done previously. So we've got radius 8, radius 3, radius 1 we did not like, radius 4. That could be the best compromise out of all of them, I think. It looks really nice. So what about the rest of it? Like I said, my main idea with this photo, as nice as that great blade of grass looks there, it was just having this little white flower here with the mimic or echo of this out of focus one there, but I wanted this to be in detail, and I think it's done an amazing job. So we can save this option now by going on to, we don't need to do any retouching. I prefer to do a lot of my retouching in Photoshop, so I'm not going to really get into that just now. But if we go to save, we can save our options up here. There are many options. I'm not going to go into them now because I like to just use Helicon to create my photo and then slap it into Photoshop in Lightroom. So we press save. Save it wherever you want. I'm going to save it in my same DxO folder as before. And here's the finished article after a little bit of editing. Okay, so let's try a deeper stack with these pinecone shots. So we've got 80 photos. So we're going to add them in there. So with method B selected, we've got radius 8 and radius 4 as stock. So we right click them just to make sure. We're going to right click our photos, sort automatically, check all, very good, and then just hit render. Okay, that's that done, quite nice and quick. So I think there's a few more shots in the stack that I might need, maybe 5 or 6 there, but that's okay. So let's have a quick look. Right, so we've definitely got some border artifacts and haloing going on there. So what we're going to do, it doesn't look too bad, but we've definitely got some issues in artifacting to work with. So with this, that's with the stock settings. So what we're going to be doing is drop the radius down to all the way down to number 1 to the bottom extreme and press render again and see what the difference is. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, we still got some, it's better, definitely, but we have still got some edge issues going on here, which are quite prominent as well. So we'll go to the other side and we'll boost that to 12. So we had 8 for our standard, 1 for the extreme there. Let's go 14 and then press render. So on method B, we've done a full swing of radius tests. Okay, so if we zoom back in here now, yeah, we've still got a lot of this haloing and bordering going on there. It's not too bad, nothing that can't be reworked, but can we get it better? Right, so let's jump into method C, the pyramid, and see what we can do there. So we'll keep it as stock at 4 and we'll press render. And then we can run a comparison then on our option B, method B settings and our method C settings and see which one we prefer. Right, nice. Okay, yeah, I think that's instantly much better already. So they're much cleaner edges. There's still some retouching to do, but we'll try one more. We'll drop the smoothing all the way down to 1 and try that. So we're going to replicate similar to what we did in method B. Try swing the extremes of the smoothing and see how they come out. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, much better again. Still a little bit of work to do on the retouching, but I think the bulk of the legwork has been done on there. Just out of curiosity, we'll put the smoothing up to the other end. Not too much, render. And we'll see what the results this gives. Let's have a look now that that's done. Zoom in. So it's a little bit softer, I think. Possibly not made a great deal of difference between smooth in 1 and smooth in 8. I think smooth in 1 is the better one with sharpen. So with that, we know we've got some edge work to do. So let's jump into here's a good section here. Let's jump into the retouching section and show you how to do this. So when you click on the retouching section, it's very similar to what you get in Photoshop. So you've got a brush that comes up here, which you can make larger and smaller with your square brackets. You've also got brush size here, brush hardness, tolerance, color tolerance, and brightness. Now go to the section on the right hand side that you want to touch up and press F9. And that will load up the photo on the left hand side of where you want to touch up. And that will be using that information. So when you draw over it then, you'll clear up that haloing on the edges. Really quite clever. Spacebar and drag to move. Finding the bits that actually are out of focus and those that are in focus can be a little bit time consuming as well, but that's okay. So you can see how simple it is. It is a detailed task and it can take a little bit of time to go through as well, but it is worth it and it makes the difference. So I'm going to go through and retouch this photo and get it as best as possible, and I'll stick up the end result at the end for you to look at. So hopefully that gives you a simple way to get sharper macro images using focus stacking. It's definitely something I'll continue to be using a lot more in the spring, particularly with my woodland and macro work. So if you're heading out soon, it really is worth giving it a try. If you found this helpful, please consider subscribing for more photography and editing videos, and I'll see you in the next one.